Parent Entrepreneur Power, conversation number 180.
Parent Entrepreneur Power.
Wait, what? It's Power!
This is the podcast for parents juggling the tough choices required for success in business while putting family first. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine Johnson, and I share the ups and downs and dirty truths of profits and potty training while chatting with successful parent entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Are you powered up? Hey there, Power Parents. You know who I am, Mary Catherine Johnson. Welcome to the conversation. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous, almost summer day out here. Actually, the end of spring coming into summer. But you know what? I get to chat with someone that, we've spent the last 15 minutes just getting to know each other, and it is a blast. So I know you are going to enjoy my guest today, besides the fact that you always enjoy my guests because I only have amazing people on here. So let's just get that out of the way. All right. So welcome to the conversation, Ray Matz Jr., and he is the founder of Game Changing Dads. Hey there, Ray. How you doing?
Hey, Mary, thanks for having me on. Great to be here.
You are so welcome. Thanks for chatting with me. Okay, so we start everyone in the exact same place so that we can at least have some continuity in that. But then where we go, who knows? So let's just hang on for this ride. But start me out with, tell me what your once upon a time story is. How did you become a parent and an entrepreneur at the same time?
Let's see. Game Changing Dads was born last year. I've been coaching for over 20 years regarding my hockey background. We'll get into that. I've been an entrepreneur, believe it or not, for 30 years, been married 11 years. So that kind of changes the game a little bit.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of numbers going in there. So this current business, 1 year, married 11, entrepreneur 30. Okay. It sounds like the business came first and the kids came after that. Is that right? Or at least one of the businesses. Your entrepreneurial journey started first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, at 18 years old.
Wow. What were you doing at 18 that you started a business?
I started a landscaping company that was encouraged by my parents. And my once upon a story, if you want to go way back, was literally when my parents were in their 40s, they started a supermarket business that at the age of 13 years old, I watched in amazement just what my parents were, the road they were going down. Super excited, having no clue at 13 years old, watching my dad open up a food store, my mom pulling equity out of their house and getting crazy. But I thought that as a 13-year-old young man was the coolest thing ever.
Thank you for saying that, because if your kids see you doing what you need to do and being as flexible and accountable and all those things that you need to do, it only builds that type of character in them. I know I've got my 18-year-old is working for me on his own choice. This is not child labor, I promise. I actually pay him a really good wage in addition to supporting him through college. But anyway, that's another story. But that is amazing. So 13, you saw that. And then 18, you're like, hey, I'm going to start my own landscaping business.
Absolutely. My mom encouraged me. I was actually working for a guy part-time during high school. And, at 18, graduating high school, my mom comes to me. She's like, have you ever thought about doing your own thing? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I have crazy responsibilities right now. Besides living under your roof, I have a girlfriend. And she looked at me. She's like, are you kidding? Did you just say that? I almost blew my first opportunity because I had a girlfriend. Telling you, yeah, that conversation lasted another 10 minutes. My mom said, this is what we can do. This is what it'll look like. Look what your father has done over the last several years. I'm telling you, small investment, truck, go out there, start small, and build up from there.
All right, Evan, are you listening to this? I know he's listening to this because he's my podcast editor. So he's going to have to hear this whole conversation. So keep going, man. Keep going. No, I'm kidding. All right. So you listened to your mom. Good job, first off. And you got a truck. You started a landscaping company. And then take me from there. You obviously are not building a landscape conglomerate. You're not a landscape architect mogul or anything like that. So what was the next step?
So I ran that business for almost 17 years. And as Robert Kiyosaki would put it, I was self-employed, almost like an employee. I did not know what a business looked like. I was working crazy hours, just like my dad. I followed in his footsteps, having no clue. You know, my father's business, I mean, whether there was a break in the middle of the night, 7 days a week, or he worked that company for almost 18 years without a vacation. My mom still to this day says, don't know why I let him do that, but it is what it is being self-employed. So at the age of 22, another one of my great mom's suggestion, buy a piece of real estate. And that was my first duplex. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I'm living up top. The people downstairs are literally paying my mortgage. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, how does this happen? Thank you, Mom, again.
Yeah. Wow. And so you had a duplex, you rented out the bottom, you had the top. Were you still doing landscape at that time, or are you doing something different?
I was. So all the way through my 20s, I sold the company at 35 years old. I got full-time into real estate investing. Long story short, had a bunch of stuff out in Las Vegas. Reading your website, '08 happened, and man, did it happen. Thank goodness that I was single. I was okay to recover a little bit. But literally the next year is when I met my wife, we started getting things rolling. And it was almost like from living off, just my rental income and my business from starting over at almost 40 years old.
Yeah. You know, we don't need to go back and visit that again. But yeah, you know, that was definitely not a fun time. But, you know, so many lessons. Oh, my goodness. So many incredible lessons that we can take from that and change things and grow things. So now that's why you're talking 11 years later and you're married and you have kids. Now tell me about the kids.
Kids are awesome. I am a 50-year-old with a 3-year-old, a 7-year-old boy, and a 10, going to be 11-year-old girl, and absolutely love it. Didn't meet my wife till I was 39 years old, and literally the first 5 minutes, I was breathless. I called my mom. I'm like, is this what it's supposed to feel like? She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Unbelievable. She's just a blessing. Kids are awesome. And growing a business like you with kids involved, there's nothing like it.
No, there is nothing like it. But you know what? That's, thank you, Ray, for this, because that's exactly why we call ourselves power parents. Because if we've raised kids through potty training, we can do anything. We got this business thing, right? Business in the
Absolutely.
It's nothing. Whoopee-doo. And then again, when they're becoming young adults and helping them navigate the girlfriends and the life decisions, it's still nothing compared to that. So kudos to you. All right. So tell me what you've been doing now. So did you still continue in real estate after '08, or did you do other things? And
It was, I think I'm a big fan of clean slate. So I literally liquidated, got rid of all my bad debt, and just literally started out fresh again at 40 years old. I did start up a small vending company. We had moved from Pennsylvania down to North Carolina, and that was like a fresh start for us. Vending was okay. That actually gave us the ability, once again, to stay at home, raise our family, which as a dad at 50 years old, I would give up a lot more money, a lot more success to be involved with my kids' life. I look back on my father, and the reason I came up with Game Changing Dads, I love my dad. He was a provider, just an entrepreneur, but I miss my dad. To this day, we don't have a relationship. I mean, I can give him a call. He'll say, "Hey, how are you? Here's your mom." There's no conversation. He was just, until his business got bad at probably 66 years old. But the conversation, the relationships, the interaction was not there. And I remember maybe a year ago, someone suggested Dan Miller regarding coaching with excellence. And I've been coaching through hockey for years, and I've been actually business coaching for years, just not getting paid for it. Being an entrepreneur. And, it made a lot of sense. And I'm thinking Game Changing Dads, because I don't want dads to have so much time involved, whether it's corporate America, running up that ladder, maybe it's the wrong ladder, wrong building, wrong company, or just being an entrepreneur and just spending way too much time. There's got to be a nice balance, because once your kids are in their teens, and you're experiencing that right now, I mean, you have that 15 years to lay that foundation. And I was there at all the births. I was there when the kids skinned their knees, first time they walked. I mean, it's just incredible. I don't care how much money, I would have gave it all up and did it all over again.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad. My husband, when we first had our first son, I was the main breadwinner. So I went back to work at about 4 months. He was 4 months old. And my husband's the one that stayed home and took care of him. And we had to fight over who was going to stay home. So, I switched everything up and became an entrepreneur so that I could stay home. And he obviously did the same thing. So it's vital. It is. I agree with you so much. That foundation, and I'm seeing that now that my kids are growing and thinking about leaving the nest, so to speak, and going into college and getting into situations. My older son, Evan, he has, if someone's smoking an e-cigarette at a party he's at, or wherever he's with a bunch of friends, he leaves. He gets up and leaves. He's like, nope, I'm out of here. I don't want any. This is just not my gig. Somebody's drinking, he leaves. It's just
Awesome.
not his gig. So he has his own foundation that, I mean, I have a glass of wine once in a while. It's not like we're totally
Absolutely.
prude, but he knows the place. He knows when things have a place, and drinking doesn't have a place with 18-year-olds. It just
Correct.
doesn't.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, you're so right. Building that foundation and it only happens at those younger stages. It doesn't happen once they turn 18. So
That's right.
it's done by then.
Absolutely.
So lots of moms and lots of dads go back to work when their kids start school. But that's the time when that foundation is built even further, not just 0 to 5. So, okay. So tell me a little bit more about what you're doing then. So, game changing dads. So you're coaching dads on how to be more present. Is that a big deal?
Correct. So if you look at the tagline, encouraging husbands and fathers to lead, love, and live, that may be leading in their household, maybe their community, maybe their churches, to live or to love, just genuine love, just for your family. Understand you're going to go through a bunch of junk, whether you've been married for 1 year or you've been married for 20 years. I mean, that's what I see. That's my opinion. The kids are going to be crazy. The kids are going to be adorable. They're going to be fun. They're going to throw stuff at you. It's just, I got clocked in, and we were actually at my 7-year-old's, they're doing presentation awards, and my 3-year-old just turns around and just clocks me for no reason. And
Just to see what happens.
You shake it off. Yeah, and all the parents are like, "Uh-oh, what's going to happen?
yeah,
He's a
right.
hockey guy. What's going to happen?" I was like, I'm good.
He's got
I
a
was like,
temper.
like, it hurts.
Yeah.
But and then to live as an entrepreneur, maybe, or maybe figuring out some kind of way, not working as much, not putting in the 40, 50, 60 hours. Because my heart breaks for the younger kids. Parents are running 2 different directions, 2 different jobs, way too many hours. Maybe it's time to downsize in the elementary years, just to have that ability and have that time. Everybody, it's just money. And I get it to a point. Yes, money definitely helps the equation. I've been there with a lot of it, and I lost a lot of it. Not fun on the second end, but to have time with your kids, there's nothing. It's just an incredible feeling. Any kind of time, whether I'm getting whacked in the head, face by my 3-year-old, or just something crazy with my 10-year-old, or just sharing a walk on the beach, whatever it may be. It is just absolutely awesome. And 90 years old, we're going to look back. Is it, oh man, I loved working for so-and-so company for 40 years. Or man, you remember when she, fell off her bike, or, she was playing hockey and got hurt. I was right there. That's what memories are all about. Family, kids.
Yes. And so many just little things. And it's really incredible how the kids remember different little things than we do. So we set these things up, my husband and I. So we set these things up and we're like, okay, this trip is going to be so memorable. And whatever, Disney World, they're going to remember it forever. Hawaii, they're going to remember it forever. Yes, Europe, they better remember forever. That was an expensive one. But still, all these things. And really when they come down to it, they remember, my husband loves the yard. He's great at planting plants, and we have lots of different herbs and lots of smelly plants. So we go out and just touch the leaves and smell amazing smells. And that's what they remember. Walking through the yard, walking through the garden, smelling, and they say, oh, that smells like our plant at home. Those kinds of memories, if we're not out there with them, and pointing those things out and doing those things with them, they won't be associated with wonderful memories in the future. So yeah, I agree 100%. So you're coaching dads to do these things. And you've reinvented yourself. There's another podcast, Charlie Posnack is a great guy. He's got a podcast for boomers, for baby boomers, of which I'm right on the tail end. Okay. I'm just a few years older than you are, but, just a couple, but, it's for, and there's another midlife, Schmidlife is another podcast that I listen to, Liz Applegate. And it's basically about starting over and doing these things no matter what age you are. So kudos to you for that. But so when you're talking about coaching dads through these things, what is one of the most difficult parts that dads specifically face when they're going through this loving and leading and having an amazing life?
The biggest thing I see, we've seen over the last probably 6 to 8 months when we started the company, is identifying roadblocks. I'm a typical guy. You know how we are. You know where I'm going with this. I love my wife because she is the interviewer, pulling I've learned so much. She's 10 years younger, but when she sits down with somebody and just pulls and just question, and I feel bad a lot of the times because the questions are never, facing the other way. It's just a one-way conversation. Yeah. So, I think as men, we're naturally kind of quiet. We want to conquer. We want to go build the herb garden and build the wall in the backyard and, do fun stuff and, make a tree swing. But, when it comes down to, okay, what's really going on behind the scenes, there may be weight issues. There may be it may be a situation where you're working too much or away from the house too much, but there's reason because there's something in a relationship. Maybe a husband and wife where sometimes it could be a fight from months ago and the grudges are still, and it may be a forgiveness issue. But, when we identify the roadblock, man, we can go in there, just get the hammers out and start whacking away. But the men have to be transparent for this to work. If not, you're paying money, you're wasting. I've had people where I've talked to, and I'm like, hey, you need to be out because I need to know what's going on. We can't help, especially in the mastermind groups, if you can't feed us anything. So that's the biggest thing. There's roadblocks. I deal with them. I've dealt with them in the past. It could be stuff in your, when you were younger that it's back there, like missing my dad. I didn't realize that was such a roadblock on just me building a relationship with my kids. I remember talking to my wife and she's like, well, why are you? I was like, man, I'm being just like my dad. This was 10 years ago. So the roadblocks are the biggest. And like I said, until we identify them, we can knock them down. Ladies, you're awesome at that. I'm telling you, guys, we're a little bit stubborn. We just want to kind of do sports and not think about anything.
Yes.
Me too.
Yes. 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 Thank you for that, because the relationships, I've been married now. We just celebrated last weekend, actually, our 34th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, I was a child bride, so you can totally say that. I, of course, was. No, I was 19. But still, that time frame, so much happens. So much of life, so many ups and downs and great times and difficult times. And your relationships change just like you do. We don't stay the same, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the relationship changes just like you do. And if you're not communicating at least a little bit, and you're not at least communicating what your needs are and how each other how you are, not just in the relationship but individually, you're not going to really be able to adapt very well, and you're going to probably grow apart. So
Yeah.
I hear ya, and wow, if you're not honest about those things, please don't pay someone to try and help you through them. Because
That's right.
yeah, you're just going to be paying money for nothing because you're not being honest with what you really need. So how do you create a safe environment for people to be comfortable with admitting some of the things that they're probably not too excited to admit?
Absolutely. And most of the groups right now we have, when we get someone new in the group, I love to be transparent on what I've went through in the past. At unfortunately, at the age of 12, I was had some sexual stuff go on regarding a coach. And, that's something that it really ruined a lot of my relationships in my late teens. And until I identified it, until I really talked to my parents, because back then when there was sexual abuse, I remember going to my mom, and my mom, and this is late 70s, just kind of like, oh, no, coach,
Never would he do that. Of course
and
not.
and I remember in my 20s, I'm like, hey, this was until we as a family sat down and they put a little trust in me and what happened.
Right.
And it helped me work through it. So, with men, we have the internet, we have just so many dark alleys that are available, unfortunately, that, like I said, I'm the first one that will come to the table and just say, hey, I struggled here, I struggled there. I had a sister that passed away at 40 years old regarding alcohol and drugs. So I've been through some crazy situations, but I get the guys to just start talking on what's bothering, or just what is your story, what's your background, talk about your parents. And sometimes it's the parents may have put up some roadblocks, or they were diving down those wrong avenues, and it just helped us saying, okay, well, if it's okay for them to do it, why not me? And I've been there and done that, where I'm looking at my dad, so okay, it's okay to do that, but yeah. And then, like I said, it's just to be transparent. And most of the guys on the call can relate after. It usually takes about a month or two of that constant interacting until they can kind of start sharing with the group.
Yeah, and it's really a matter of feeling safe.
Absolutely.
Because so many times when we're out with buddies, out chatting by the barbecue or whatever, or mom's sitting around the kitchen, drinking a glass of wine or something, there's a certain expectation that everything's wonderful and everything's great, and we make jokes about old Johnny over there hitting the other kid, or whatever the case may be, but we have a presentation of ourselves that everything has to be wonderful, and it's not always wonderful, and it's okay that it's not. This is life. Let your kids know that sometimes things aren't great, and that's okay. It's not like life is going to end just because we lost our job, or just because the 2008 hit, or just because whatever. We're not going to die. We're going to be okay. So to be able to be safe in an environment, I think that's the number one key to coaching someone effectively, I would assume. So the way you do it, from what you're saying, is to share your own vulnerabilities and be transparent with your own life, so that not that you want to say that you're worse than anyone else or better than anyone else, but that it allows people to see that it's okay to share these things. Look, I shared this and I didn't fall down on the ground and die because I shared something embarrassing or difficult or whatever. And that's tough for men to do so much more even than women.
Yeah, I totally. It's like running a good business, or say a business in general. And I've seen this a lot too, where, you see the business from the outside, you may have the storefront, you may have the brick and mortar, you see the signs, you see all the fancy trucks. But, when you get into the accounting aspect and you're in the red, but you're only looking from the outside the building on how, and that's exactly what guys do. It's, hey, who won the game last night? Oh man, that was great. I'm a big fan, and we do this through our church, and I'll do it on the hockey court. And how how are you really feeling? You know, what's going on? And I won't do this in front of the other guys
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's you know, the walls are going to go up.
Right.
But just like, hey, I mean, I heard about so and so, and are you okay with that? When you know, we need to sit down, grab some coffee.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of guys in my life that extended that invitation out. Whether it's a next door neighbor, a friend, I love working with men, and that's why I would just say, hey, if you ever want to grab a coffee, you ever want to talk about a situation, you know, you're going through, you know, let me know. Because like I said, I really don't, except for some really close friends at church. I mean, you know, my father never even said anything like that to me. It's like,
Right.
oh, you'll be fine. Just
Right.
work hard, you know,
Right.
and you
Right.
keep going, you know, toughen up. You're a hockey player. But I'm
Well,
sensitive too.
yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Well, yeah. But
And that's
that
going to
was
show through your kids too.
yes,
Sorry to
yes.
interrupt.
If
Your
you don't
kids are going to
allow,
pick all that up. No
yes,
doubt about it.
if you don't allow yourself to share and feel feelings, and it's okay, then yeah, your kids are going to see that as an example and think there's something wrong with them if they feel these feelings
Absolutely.
because they don't
Yep.
see you having them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and that's also that generation really. It was a totally different generation. It was not the touchy feely generation. So I
Yeah,
don't.
true, true. And,
Yeah.
and it's also your mindset regarding who you're hanging around with. You
Yeah.
know, Robert Kiyosaki, Robert Rome, all these guys, you know, who you hang around with, who are, that's exactly who you're going to end up like. And I remember my hockey career. I love my hockey guys. I had a fantastic career. But I look back and I'm like, okay, you know, why was I drinking so much? Why was I cussing like a truck driver? And not even thinking about the consequences when my nephew was in the room. What, you know, and I was so selfish at that point. But I really look back, that environment you create is huge. So when you get a guy in a mastermind group of, you know, 5 to 7 guys, all of a sudden you're starting to create that atmosphere to say it's okay to share. It's okay to share your heart a little bit. The game was great yesterday, but shallow, not important.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting paid millions and we're like being broke. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized that way later in life. My mistake.
Yeah. Not as important to focus on what those guys are doing as much as focusing on what you're doing and what your life is about. Yeah. Otherwise, you get to the end of it and you really haven't lived your life. You've lived through your sports heroes, and that's not a
That's
life.
right.
That's not a life.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So you've been doing this for, a year, started the business for a year, coaching dads. How has that impacted, or is it the other way around? Has your family impacted your coaching business, or is your coaching business continuing to impact your relationships and your family?
I'm a big fan, and we talked about this earlier, of just sharing every business opportunity with your children. I remember when I first started Game Changing Dads, and my 10-year-old would literally be in any other room through the walls listening to one of my first podcasts. And I remember 2 weeks after that, I had no clue this was going on. Two weeks later, she's like, hey, I want to do a presentation. And they said, you can, what your parents do for a living or a job and this and that. And I want to be a game-changing dad, but I'm a girl. But can I still pull that off?
Oh, no.
And she literally, the presentation was awesome. We cut a video on YouTube. I mean, I was just like, I'm from Philly. So you hear my accent. I am not fluent. I make up my own words. And I'm like, I wish I can be like her. She sounds so wonderful.
Isn't that amazing?
But the influences you have on your kids, whether they're 3, 7, or 10, it doesn't matter. They're watching.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, something's going to come in their life and they're going to say, man, I want to be like my mom, Mary, or whoever it may be. But you're a perfect example. I mean, our first 5 minits of conversation, I'm like, I love you. You're awesome.
Oh, you're so
You're
sweet.
out there making it happen.
Can
Because
I
see
be
everybody.
a game-changing dad?
Absolutely.
I mean, come on. We got to do game-changing
No doubt about
moms.
it. A game-changing mom. Hello.
Yeah. Same difference. Yeah,
Love it.
yes. Thank you so much. I agree. We had Power Parents. We had a little difficult time starting the podcast because we were just chatting on our own. So it's like, okay, I think I better start the recording here so we can get some of this conversation going. But yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, my first business was a maternity shirt business, and my sons came up with designs for kids' shirts. And of course, my youngest came up with the first design where he said, you know what? I think you should put this on a shirt, Mom. And I said, well, what's that? He goes, I think you should say Big Brother for Rent. And not in the bad way, but in the way that, he always, if I do something wrong or if we're in trouble, he always is the one that takes the blame. So I can rent him out. I can put on a shirt that I can rent him out, that he'll take the blame for you if you need to. Or if we have to do chores, he'll let me get away with doing less and he'll do more. So I want to rent him out because he's an awesome big brother. Not because you want to get rid of him, but because he's an awesome big brother. So yeah, that is amazing, just to get them to think about those kinds of things. And now they're both, I have this this business I'm doing, messenger funnels, that I know everybody, Power Parents, I won't talk about it. I know I'm totally obsessed with it. I'll shut up. But except to say that both boys are working with me in it. But the amazing thing is, with my youngest, he's actually teaching himself how to animate using an Adobe suite, using some of the animation tools in Adobe. And he's animating things for me, animating GIFs, and just having a great time because he hears what I'm talking about and he draws out things that he thinks represents it and then animates it. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This is incredible. So yes, you never know what your kids are going to do. But if you show them the examples, oh my goodness, there is no limit. Sky, moon, stars, Milky Way, doesn't matter. There's no limit. They will go amazing places. I can imagine what your daughter was doing. How was her presentation? What did she do it on?
It was awesome. I mean, she did it, Game Changing Dads, how, we encourage husbands and fathers to lead, love, and live, and just got into it. And she was like, I want to be a game changing dad at the very end, just like my dad.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so incredible because, she's getting that entrepreneur spirit. I mean, it's funny. I watched my son and my daughter last year. So we're in Florida. It gets very hot here. And, out of the blue, I didn't even bring this up. She's like, wonder what we can sell out front. And this is just a whole lemonade stand deal, And they they dialed it down to, well, we had seashells. That didn't really work. Well, we did this. Well, they did water bottles. And they're bringing in like $50 a day during the summer profit.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife and I are like, oh, do we need to switch gears?
Yeah, right, and sell water bottles.
Unbelievable. But you know what I see out there, if you've never had a business, never been an entrepreneur, is just the fear of the unknown is out there.
Yeah.
And I look at it, Game Changing Dads was, kind of based off my sporting background. But here's the deal. I get a lot of these guys like, oh, man, what if it doesn't work? And I was like, have you ever played a sport before? I mean, we forget. We think like, oh, I played basketball and I won every game and every shot was perfect. No, man, I got my teeth knocked out when I was 30 years old, broken limbs. I mean, you're out there falling. It's going to happen. Your business is going to be successful. You may lose a business. You may get some ideas and move on. But just to be creative, because here's the deal. What's the flip side? 30 to 40 years with someone else and downsizing, corporate downsizing, people losing jobs, especially when you get up to your 50s, is everywhere. Yep. And why not have, I call it double dipping. If you're not ready to fully commit, work the day job, couple hours a week at night, figure your little niche out, figure out something, and roll it. Because your kids, I'd rather have them like packing two, maybe business, maybe be an entrepreneur, instead of just having one. Why not?
Yeah. Well, and the same thing you said, that our kids, they haven't been taught failure yet, right? They haven't been taught to fear that. And be afraid most of the time. Obviously, all kids have anxiety of different levels for different things, but they will try. They will see other kids doing something and they'll go try it most of the time. So they haven't experienced that failure like 2008 that we might feel was a failure. And they don't fear it as much as we do. So they're going to just keep trying seashells, water bottles, whatever they need to try to do whatever they want to do. We need to have that same spirit, but with a strategy attached to it. Not just go out and try something for the sake of trying it. Have a strategy because you do have responsibilities for family, right? I mean, we can't just go out and start something without at least having a strategy and understanding where it's going to go, because we do have to take care of a family.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when that '08 hit, brand new in marriage a year after the fact, I remember saying to myself, having that conversation going, okay, is it time for me to go out and get a job? Never had a job, worked for a guy part-time during the summer and my father a little bit, but never had to go down that avenue. And I kind of smiled to myself. I'm like, this is not how I'm built. Let me just go start another business. We'll go for it. I explained it to my wife. Very gracious. She said, I'll support you. We've been through it. But it's great to look back on all the crazy, weird, out of control. Sometimes we lose money. Sometimes we make a lot of money. But it's awesome to look back on that. I mean, I sit there with my kids and I bring out these brochures on, hey, I tried this in like 87 and I did this in 93. And man, I got wiped out in Biloxi, Mississippi and Vegas. Man, that was like super fun. We had a great place and it just disappeared.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. And having them see that and realize that it's okay. Yeah. You're not going to die, right? This is not life and death. This is business. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
and like I
on.
said, the alternative, and like I said, I'm not downplaying the whole, corporate life in 30 years, but what are you sharing with your kids? It's just, hey, I worked for the government for 30 years and man, it was awesome. I just see people, going down that avenue and it's just the same old, and my heart goes out to them.
Yeah, it does.
Because I know what they're capable of.
Yeah, and living in California, I live near the capital, near Sacramento, and really the largest employer in California is the state of California. So we have generations of people who their parents, their grandparents worked for the state, their parents worked for the state, and now that's what they aspire to, is working for the state. And that, hey, if that floats your boat and you're actually loving what you do, then go for it. I haven't met one who does. I haven't met one person who works for the state that just goes, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to work. It is so incredible. I've never met that person. I've met many entrepreneurs who just wake up in the morning going, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I get to do this every day. I cannot believe I'm going to sit at my computer and do what I love to do. I mean, I've met lots of those people. So, I wonder which one I want to be. I think you know. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Ray, so tell me just real quick, what is your best power tool as a parent entrepreneur?
One of my favorite power tools is me, is you, or them, doesn't matter. So check this out. It's a great smile, like I'm looking at right now with Mary. It's a handshake. It's a friendly hello. I've built some of the greatest relationships, like I'm doing right now, just saying hello to someone on the beach or someone at a business conference or someone at church. Being friendly, and guys are a little weird like this. I'm maybe talking to the wrong group here, but reaching out, smiling, saying hello, complimenting someone is an awesome power tool. You don't need an app for it. You don't need a Kindle. You don't need you don't need it. It's just you. Smile, say hello, because you never know where that relationship's going to be. I used it on my wife 11 years ago. It worked. And I've had plenty of friendships that it was just a handshake, hello, middle of the park, doesn't matter. But you never know who you're walking past daily. It is awesome. Use it. It'll work.
I cannot even tell you how amazing that power tool is. I'm definitely going to steal that one. All right. So we've talked a lot, and thank you for sharing and being so transparent with my audience as well, with all of us.
Absolutely.
We've talked a lot about breaking down barriers and roadblocks and more psychological, mental mindset issues. And we've talked a lot about different kinds of business issues as well. If there's someone sitting out there and they're kind of sitting on the fence going, gosh, I really think I want to jump into this entrepreneurial thing. These guys sound like they're having a great time, sound like cool people. I think I want to join that group. But they're still kind of rocking back and forth on that fence. What advice would you give that person?
The best advice I can give that person who's on the fence about being an entrepreneur, I would say it's my 80 to 90-year-old talk to myself. I just turned 90. I look back. What do I say to myself? Do I say, man, what an exciting, crazy, fun, out of control entrepreneur life I lived, passed down to my kids, whatever happened? Or, man, I regret not getting off the fence, getting into the game, and just maybe some bitterness sets in. I see it all the time. I interview a lot of folks that are usually 75 and above. And I just like, hey, if you were to go back and do anything different, and it's unbelievable what comes out of their mouth after I say, would you change anything? I'm thinking from here on out, like, so I'm 50. If I backtrack and hit rewind, okay, let's say you ask me, what would you want to change? I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Probably some stupid mistakes, but it's been awesome. It's been exciting. It's been fun. I mean, hello, what's like? I mean, we're only here. Quick, boom, we're off the map, and we never know when it's going to hit us. But yeah, it's so exciting being an entrepreneur. I mean, if you want to get off the fence, find some entrepreneurs, get into a group, get around people that are going to encourage you. Period. Because I know my base of friends back in the day, there was no encouragement. I started my first company. My 3 friends came up to me and laughed and said, what is that truck you're driving? Oh, I started a landscaping business. My mom thought it was a cool deal. That is the stupidest thing really? They all looked at me. First piece of real estate. Ew, why would you want to why would you want to live in a duplex at 22? Hello. I'm telling you. Yeah, the more criticism you get, the more successful you'll be. Follow the entrepreneurs, follow the people that are leading the path, like Mary here. Whatever it takes, just do it. I'm telling you. I'm excited even just talking about that. What a great question. Thank you.
That's it. Yes. And that shows, that shows that you're really loving what you do. And your mindset is, if it works, great. If it doesn't, I'm not married to the idea and can't pick up the pieces from it. And the only way you can do that is by experiencing that, right? I mean, because we went through 2008, we can look at that and go, okay, whatever comes later, I can deal with it.
Absolutely.
It's not going to kill me. I can deal with it. It might hurt me a bit. It might make me feel bad, might give me a few more gray hairs, but I'll still wake up tomorrow, hopefully.
Absolutely.
I really hope.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, Power Parents, you can tell that Ray and I have been getting along quite well, and I have a feeling we're gonna definitely be networking with each other in the future and stay in touch, because I definitely surround myself with people who believe the same as I do, which is, this is a freaking hot ride. This is an amazing journey, and I love that quote. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to give it to the right person. I have no idea who said it, and I'm gonna totally butcher it. But it's basically sliding into the grave with chocolate in one hand and a glass of wine with the other, going, man, what a ride. That's it.
That's it.
All right. Power Parents, you heard it all. Check it out. Game Changing Dads. And is that the URL for your business as well? GameChangingDads.com?
That is correct. Yeah.
You got to check it out. You got to check out Ray and see what he's up to. And in the meantime, get that mindset straight and just jump in. Just have a blast. We are having a blast, so join us. Thank you so much, Ray. Thank you so much for sharing this. I really do appreciate it. And as the business grows and matures, I'd love to have you back on and see how things have changed. And especially a 3-year-old. Man, I got to tell you, my knees couldn't handle a 3-year-old right now. Yeah.
It's tough. I keep in really good shape because my wife is 10 years younger. But yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you, that's what life's all about. Motion. Action, motion, get off the fence.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To get powered up for your day, just go to parententrepreneur.power.com and listen to any one of the over 100 episodes we've had so far with amazing entrepreneurs just like you. It might just help you feel like a grown-up again.